The Institute for Tourism Professionals of Nigeria is collaborating with the government to hold this destination building advocacy meeting. Is one evidence that attests to the private sector and stakeholders' confidence in the ability of the present destination managers to drive the destination to an expected goal. The aim of this advocacy meeting is to create a platform for the state and private tourism managers to reflect on one critical success driver of great destinations, which is hospitality.
This government is poised to return tourism as a pivot for socio-cultural and economic development of the state. I believe without sounding like praise singing, you can all attest to this fact. That is why we want to be quick in letting you appreciate the modest achievement of the government for this sector within this brief period of her existence.
This year's team, Light Up Cross River, with the spirit of hospitality, resonates deeply with our commitment to advancing tourism in the state. We take this opportunity to acknowledge and commend the unwavering effort of His Excellency the Governor of Cross River State, whose visionary leadership has been a driving force behind the positive transformation in the tourism industry. It is important that we list here as a bill for 4 months counting that when we resumed, we had promised perseverance, that we will strongly partner with the private sector to change the narrative. We started by assuring the hoteliers that we will make sure your business does not die. His Excellency the Governor of Cross River State approved the first grant in the history of tourism, if I'm wrong, in Nigeria. That grant took care of 10 hotels. If you think that 1 million did not make a difference, drive through Le Chateau, drive through China View. Check it out. That money is changing the game. It's important that we mention here again that as we speak, our team of about more than 100 youths are going around Cross River State to take data of the economic impact of tourism in Cross River.
Vamping of the Marina resorts and all that has happened. That is very commendable. I also noticed that we have a carrier that has resumed flights despite the difficult circumstances. Now, in the period of darkness, we needed 3 aircraft to form an airline. But I'm sure you heard the governor say we needed 3 because we now have 2. You now need 5 flights, 5 aircrafts to get the carrier as an airline. But what does it do to the business community, to the festive period, is that you can freely take in your guests and move out your guests as a state, because tourism is your lowest hanging fruit. So I want to commend the government of Senator Basio too for the very bold step. If you check the flights from the other sister airlines, they didn't look like they were flights to Calabar, and they didn't need to bother about you. They need to bother about themselves, about their own businesses. As at yesterday, they had, I think, increased one more flight. So there are 4 flights from Uyo to Lagos and back, 3 flights to Abuja and back. And I think that's what the carrier comes to cover for Cross River State. Very, very commendable, and I'm very excited about that. And I believe that is a sign of very good things to come. The leadership of the state values the investment and the things that the private sector has done in keeping the stage running and making Cross River State stay afloat as far as this business is concerned.
Ethic hospitality, ethic activities must be, sustainable. That means we must adopt the international best practices to ensure sustainable tourism, promote responsible tourism that respects and preserves ethic, cultural, and natural assets. So those of us who are, visitors, tourists within the ethic enclaves, we shouldn't go to destroy what they have already. We should rather promote it, appreciate it, see what they are doing, try to understand it, ask questions where you don't really understand. At the end of the day, you will also be able to leave and take this history back to where you're coming from.
The private sector were confused. They were in a state of helplessness. The professionals were changing game. They were going to something else. But Senator Prince Basio has brought hope. So this gathering is to show that there is hope. They are happy to come back. They are willing to reinvest. They are willing to bring their ideas. This is what is interesting about this gathering.
Commend the new government headed by Senator Utubasi. There are two competitive advantages, that the state has. That's in tourism and in agriculture. Tourism had gone far in terms of foundations that was laid, and I'm sure we all know that we have not had the best of it in recent times. So when you see talking about lighting up, that means the era of darkness is over. And so that's where we commend the state, and we can see the steps taken already. First is the quality of persons that are appointed into the tourism ecosystem, and it's commendable. Having said so, we also have the Cali Air or the Aero flight, resume even at this time. I know it would have been very difficult for the governor to do that, but he had to do it because this destination would have been shut in without, that service. So it's commendable, highly commendable, and we can see that even at the private sector level, some kind of support is given to the hospitality industry, which has never happened actually. However you wanted to say it, how much is not much, but you must commend the fact that a government is looking into assisting the private sector who's been buffeted and almost derailed by all the problems of the industry.
Efik culture and Efik hospitality has not been properly captured and positioned where it's supposed to be in the tourism business and the tourism industry here. Like in the presentation, we realized that there's so much about Efik hospitality, from food to marriages, performances, entertainment, and all of that. How well have we been able to, position this in our tourism industry? Except for a period like this, maybe during our own carnival or Christmas season or Easter season. What has been happening to this tradition from January to December? So she is now saying that beyond us putting these things down, we should be able to make it, a day-to-day thing.
We feel that when a customer touch point is weak, when a person becomes dissatisfied, it diminishes the total level of customer satisfaction. And for a customer to leave and return to a destination more satisfied, we require hospitality, which is an emotional feeling of your impression and experience while in that destination. It's on the basis of this that we of the Institute for Tourism Professionals of Nigeria, in collaboration with this Tourism Bureau and the Ministry of Tourism, have put up this event, Light Up Cross River State with the spirit of hospitality.